I always like to draw fan art for other people. Often I surprise others and I get super happy from seeing their reactions. It's great to be brightening someone's day. Or sometimes I'll find an artist with a very cool art style, and we'll do an art trade. I draw an OC of their choice, and in return they draw one of my OCs that I want. Or I will just straight up ask everyone in the chat to give me their OCs and I'll do a bunch of free requests. In a nutshell, I draw a lot of art for other people. So much that sometimes more than I draw art for myself. So when I've heard of Artfight, which is all about making art for others, I instantly knew it was perfect for me, and I had to participate. What is Artfight? Basically, it's an annual event where everyone gets split into 2 teams and we have to make fun art for each other. The team that has made the most fun art wins. As simple as that. It happens once a year and lasts the entire month of July. Of course, there's a scoring system where if your art is of higher quality and higher effort, you get more points. A full-body drawing gets you more points than a half-body drawing. A clean linear gets more points than a sketch. Shaded art gets more points than non-colored art. You can also have multiple characters, an animation, and other mediums of art, of course each also having more points. You get the point. Here I have an advantage because if you look at my arts, I'm used to only ever drawing full body. I almost never do headshots because once I draw a part of an OC, I feel like finishing everything else. It feels weird to only do one part. Before the event starts, everyone is preparing their own page. First I have to choose which characters do I put on the page. Who do I want other people to draw for me? Which proved to be more difficult than I expected because there are a lot of drawings that are in this gray zone where I'm unsure if they are an OC. Like for example, for practice I drew this koi fish. I'm proud of the drawing, but it's a generic koi fish that doesn't have any distinct features. And if an artist drew it from Google Images or from my reference, it would look the same regardless and it wouldn't feel like the artist drew something that was mine, and I wouldn't really feel like I own this OC. Another example is when I tried to practice drawing mecha, and drew a generic robot creature for the sake of practicing, and so on. You get the idea. So I went through and chose the OCs that were distinct enough, that I felt a connection to and I was super proud of, and I narrowed it down to the ones that I want art of the most. I ended up with these 15 characters, not too many, cause I don't want it to be overwhelming. I'm hoping that by the end of this event to have at least one drawing of each character. This OC was the newest addition, because I designed it right before the start cause I wanted to have an OC that was a drink. This one is a pomegranate kiwi smoothie. Yum. I don't know how people come up with names for their OCs cause I can't. Like I overthink and I'm indecisive that if I come up with a name and then I don't like it later on but I can't change it cause I'm stuck with it since people will always remember it by that name and my brain goes kaboom. It's kinda funny how none of these have proper names like we have. Leaf creature, plug with 3 pins, pomegranate kiwi smoothie, silly caution tape, lil fella with 3 living tails. Lots of people prepare reference sheets for the characters, but I can't really do that because my art style and the designs are not consistent. For example, for the silly caution tape roll OC, here the tip of the legs and arms are a more saturated yellow color, but here it's green. And here I randomly added some blue fluff to see if it looks good or not. I'm still not sure. Next drawing might not have it, or might have something else different. Even if I'm drawing the same thing multiple times, each time it will look quite different. Next I put global character permissions of what's allowed and not allowed, and anything specific for any particular character, which was only needed for the radio tower OC. It is very big, like the size of a radio tower. Obviously since it is a radio tower, so it shouldn't be drawn in a house, or being the same size as the other characters. If anyone ever accidentally does that then I'll assume a shrink ray has been used. While I was waiting for the countdown to go down, I looked around and bookmarked any characters that I liked. I almost treated it like social media, bookmarking even the stuff that I wasn't even capable of drawing. This way I ended up with over 100 bookmarks, which is way too many. There's no way I can draw that much. There's also these cards which I didn't do cause I can't decide which characters to be featured. I like turquoise and water so I went with Team Seafoam. It felt like everyone went with the Stardust team. Conveniently a lot of characters I bookmarked also were on the Stardust team. Finally the time has arrived. The event has started, and next second the website crashed. For the following hours the website didn't get back up. I couldn't attack anyone and it was rather late in my time zone so I had no choice but to go to sleep. I woke up fresh, no one attacked me yet, so it was time to strike. With my first attack ever, I decided to go all out. This artist is one of my favorites. The art is insanely good and colorful. It straight up feels like candy to the eyes. I can't stop admiring it. This OC is super cool and quite detailed, and it was quite the challenge for me to draw it, but I did it. Seeing so many options and text when submitting the attack was intimidating at first, but after getting used to it, it feels very straightforward. If you put extra time and effort, there's an option to say the art is polished for more points, which should be used only for the rare occasion like this one where I put so much effort. After posting the attack, getting a nice comment afterwards is so rewarding. Since no one attacked me yet, I had 100% battle ratio, which is the ratio between how many times I attacked others and how many times I've been attacked. When someone attacks me it's actually a defense. Next I went after this artist that I followed on Instagram to see all the pretty arts. I had the opportunity to play around with the glow since it's a light bulb. Then someone that I knew and has made fun art for me way before Artfight. Now I had the chance to pay it back with some fun art. I went with this one that had such long legs. But I had a surprise waiting. I got my first ever attack, and it's actually a mass attack from a familiar person. The same person that submitted Gashi Machine in this video, and it became a big meme in the comments. 62 booksonas in one drawing is such an enormous amount. I find it funny how everyone is just simple shaped character, and I'm the only one that's full body from all the detail my booksona has. Turns out, when you do mass attacks, you can only choose one main recipient to receive the attack, and it will show up on their page. For everyone else, it shows up under the characters included in tab, and only the main recipient can attack back as a revenge, which in this case it's me out of the 62 people that could have possibly been chosen. So I'll definitely do that at some point. Also, a revenge is when you attack back after you have been attacked. You can even create revenge chains from going back and forth. There were actually 3 characters that were removed at the very last second due to them being just hidden from public, which can be a bit irritating. And the tall leaf creature has been drawn too. The style of the head reminds me of slugcats, which fits really well. Today was an eventful day. I attacked 3 people and got attacked 2 times. Now it's the 3rd day. I found this character that has such big tail. You can tell that I am a fan of big tails. A common theme is trying out stuff that I haven't before. This time I got to see how it's like to draw arms that bend all over the place. I'm actually super happy with the result. I also drew this green tea creature. I couldn't decide if the background would be green, making the art be only one color, which looks like the art is candy, or to make it blue, highlighting the OC better so it's more visible. I eventually went with blue. I got attacked with an animation. My little fella with 3 living tails left planet Earth, and now is bouncing on a different planet. I really love animation since it makes the OCs actually feel alive and like they exist. Then 2 more of my booksona. This one is so cartoony I seem to be laying on the grass. This has very saturated colors. I attacked 2 times and got attacked 3 times, which means the ratio is now exactly 50-50. The following day I actually got my first ever revenge. To this attack they revenged with this. I love the art style, it looks so soft. And the tail is super long. But not only that, I also got another animation which actually comes from one of my viewers. The tail is even longer, and I love the effects and how happily is bouncing up and down. I can look at this animation all day. And I did only one art, this traffic sign that is alive. I like how it's combined with real photos. I should do that with my OCs too more often. I am now falling behind and I'm not letting that happen. So on the 4th day, I went super hard and made for attacks. Snake venom, how to tame werewolves, solstice, and paw. The idea of a paw having its own paws seemed funny. That's why I drew it. I've received my booksona being wrapped in the tail like a blanket. And what was the only art of the radio tower OC that I was gonna receive for the entire event? They are chilling in such a beautiful scenery, I love it. But at this point and for days, I made 10 drawings. I really overworked myself and started to feel burnt out. While at the same time I also caught a cold and started feeling really sick. I had to take a break to rest. I've noticed that some people go back to older arts to cover them up, and I can't so easily see their improvements over time. You should be proud of how far you've come. It can be demotivating and deflating for those who you've drawn to suddenly see the art they were happy of be suddenly covered up. I've also seen people do this to even current attacks, but for the sake of it being a surprise. Like receiving a gift but not knowing what it is until you look in. For someone like me who enjoys admiring art, and seeing what kind of art style each person has, this does indeed make it harder since I would have to click on each one individually and the website is rather slow at loading. One of my fans really wanted to join Artfight, but didn't because of fear. Let me tell everyone this important message. Fear will hold you back from doing things that you wanted to do, and later on you might regret not doing what you want to do. So go out there, and beat the fear. Yeah, they ended up joining. They seemingly had a lot of fun, but if they listened to the fear, then none of this fun stuff would have happened. Now if I want to come back from this break, I need to change things up if I don't want to end up just a bunch of burnt ashes on the ground. I'm making the art less effort. I thought this would be a huge hit to the quality of the art, but to be honest I can barely tell a difference. On the 3rd day of the break I was already missing drawing, and started drawing again, making my first revenge ever. The Gashi Machine, which I mentioned earlier that I'll come back revenging the first attack that I got. And over a period of 3 days I have made 12 drawings, such as this dark creature, which is a revenge to a revenge. I accidentally made the glow effect look super good. Chocolate sunflower. I didn't know this kind of plant even existed. It has a very striped fur pattern. This OC from the creator of TFMI, a dice tower, a light stick, flying plant creature, flask. First attack that isn't an object OC, which also doubled down as a gift for their birthday. Rainbow pinwheel. I couldn't really decide if the background is a scene or not to categorize it. White board from blue gelatin. Someone that I had to attack cause I kept seeing them in my analytics at the top of this list. I tried shading only using this swirly shape I made. They actually have drawn me way before Artfight. This honey jar. I'm so proud of how this turned out. The colors are very vibrant. The background looks like a sea of honey. In return I got 3 arts of my book Sona. This one looks so insanely cool, revenging my first attack ever. I'm so happy to have gotten art from one of my favorite artists. Look how magnificent the colors are. It's straight up delicious candy. I want to jump around and kick my feet in the air from so much joy. Even a shadow is present which I'm not fully certain what exactly it is. I have now entered the universe of the Flipnote. It stands out since I saw Flipnote stuff before and I was wondering, how would I look like in that style? Thanks to this person I just found out now. This really went far beyond with extreme fluffiness with silly doodles in the corners. I was clearly surprised. Also the furry version of it got drawn. The tunic and shark truly got such big tail that takes most of the screen that only leaves little space of the actual body on the right edge of the image. Both the moth and the plug with 3 pins look silly. You actually did a better job with the wires than me. The silly caution tape is so bright yet it fits so well. The way the fluff was drawn in a spiky manner almost reminding me of aquatic life. Also the style of the paws is absolutely amazing. All in all I'm blown away by this art. And 2 mass attacks as well. The smoothie chilling in a field celebrating a special day. What's special about it? Ah yes, it's the day when I posted my first video. The other one is so splendid and dramatic. The art style is astounding and my OC is actually among other object OCs with animal limbs. Feeling very in my element. All these living beings look so intriguing. I want so badly to draw all of them. Also I noticed the situation of the scene. We're like an ant colony but inside a rock. I have never before drawn so much art in such a small period of time and I definitely need another break. Good night, I'm taking a nap. Good morning. I need to strategize for the future of this fight to set up some goals. Like what do I want to achieve before the end of this event? First of all, there's so many more cool people that I've met or I recognize that I have to draw art for them, and so many extremely unique OCs. I'll try to draw as many as humanly possible. Second of all, I've noticed that my notifications are slowly reaching triple digits, and I'm super curious if it's going to show 100 or 99 plus. Also the points are slowly ticking their way up, so 4 digits would be nice. I've seen plenty of people drawing multiple characters together. Not something that I usually do, so I want to eventually try to make at least 1 mass attack. I also would like to get at least 1 level 5 revenge chain. This would have been a level 2 but the attacker didn't mark it as a revenge to my previous revenge. But don't worry, I've just been attacked with my Sona looking real fluffy and wearing some kind of decoration. Revenging my previous revenge, where I tried to make the art as bright as possible, making it a level 2 revenge chain. Another goal is to get at least 1 art of each OC. It seems that the majority of people are drawing my book Sona, when I already have a lot of art of it before Artfight. Obviously I don't mind it much, I'm always so happy of the art regardless of who you draw. Though I have some OCs that have literally never ever gotten any art before and I'm curious how would fan art of them look like. I want them to get a chance too. So I updated my bio to mention the ones that haven't gotten any art yet, to hopefully direct people to them. That's a lot of goals. Can I possibly achieve all of these before the end? Let's see. I suddenly received this mysterious follow from someone. It has happened before and usually I look at the account out of curiosity to see what they draw. But this account stood out. Well, they had a very creative animation showcasing the card, and many 3D Blender models and cool characters. But it's not about this. It's how they were receiving an extremely high amount of art from other people compared to the amount of attacks they were doing. They also have a very high amount of followers. I immediately assumed that they were popular and had a big presence somewhere else, but when I checked the socials that wasn't the case. I was confused. Then I realized they were following an even larger amount of people. Later on I would find even more of these kinds of accounts that use this tactic of following an insanely high amount of people, in the hopes that someone notices them like I did and decides to attack back. This way getting a lot more art than they would have normally gotten. So I've decided why not just follow some of the artists that I like. First I would go through everyone in my bookmarks, then through the people that attacked them, and who they attacked and so on. This way I found so many insanely cool artists. For some reason when I see art styles that I like so much for too long, eventually I feel like I'm about to go kaboom from so much energy. Like holy moly, my brain can't possibly comprehend this much beautifulness of this world. Shockingly this actually works since plenty followed back and even attacked. After a full day of looking at pretty art, I wasn't even anywhere close to such gargantuan number. Though I wasn't even planning on reaching something like that. I just wanted to find artists that I like. It was actually helpful since I accidentally came across people that recognized me who I didn't realize were on Artfight. And even this one artist hasn't attacked anyone for almost 2 weeks, but me following them made them regain their motivation and start drawing again. Such big happy expression, so wonderful. From all this activity I've reached my first goal. The notifications do indeed show 3-digit numbers. Now I'm curious what happens at 1,000 notifications. Of course it's unrealistic for me to reach that, so if anyone did, tell me what happens and if there is any limit to this number. By the way, I finally made my card. I'll try to rapid fire through the attacks that I did. This is the only art that's not shaded cause it actually looks better this way since I somehow made it look so soft. It's kinda a revenge to this mass attack, but I couldn't mark it as one since I wasn't the main recipient. There I saw this snake lamp, so I drew it. I also drew this oarfish. I seem to really like aquatic OCs. I've noticed the two people that I already had a revenge chain with and tried to continue it with these two arts. Since I'm a book owner, I thought it would be fitting to do book OCs as well. This person has actually drawn me before. I liked how evil this one looks, so I made art of it. And not everything is object OCs. Here we have an axolotl in the middle of the ocean. I was trying the underwater effect. I found the character with the biggest tail I've seen. Just look how floof it is. I didn't know how to draw it. The character is more like floating in the air. Also, I already attacked this person before and didn't realize it. That was a lot of attacks and I smashed through the goal of 1,000 points. Now let's rapid fire through the attacks that I got. My book Sona is very silly. The art style is great. Here even sillier and happier. Now alongside other two sillies. Every time I see this I accidentally think for a second that the leg got amputated, but it's actually behind. Then silly but in pixel art. I love the expression and how the hair has a gradient going lighter as it goes down. The moth. When I look close it feels like the head drifted to far left from the body, but when I zoom out I don't notice it. I like the fluff though. Very cute art. Yay, an animation. I want to look at it for hours. It's fitting how the moth was drawn by someone also called Moth. I kinda wish the watermark wasn't covering part of it since I'd like to imagine it floating in the corner of a screen if I ever needed that. The plug with 3 pins looks so good, especially with those outlines and the colored wires in the background. The expression gives it a chaotic energy. We also have somewhat of a side view of the lil fella with 3 living tails. We've never seen this part before, only the front view. So it's interesting to see how so many tails emerge from the back. Also it has perspective, making it feel a bit 3D. Updating the bio seemed to work since I quickly got an art of rhombododecahedron. Apparently the shape was too challenging and it came out looking squished, so a hammer has been added to turn it into a funny meme. Also the USB cable OC finally got attacked. They came out in broad sunlight to scare others. I love how fluffy it is and also one of my fans. Also I think it's the first time someone drew their OC interacting with mine. And this whiteboard doodle, the style of the fur and claws is wonderful. So that's 2 of the last 5 characters crossed out. At this point I've made over 30 attacks, but it still barely made a dent in my bookmarks. As the final day was rapidly approaching I realized it wasn't feasible, so it's time for a mass attack to cross out more of my goals. 24 characters in one image. Aquatic life, lizard in a bottle, metro, a very happy 5, yarn, axolotl, traffic sign, scythe, 2 dandelion OCs. I'm surprised at the crazy amount of characters I managed to draw considering I haven't done something like this before. Just this alone got almost as many points as I needed for one of the goals. I got so many comments, but that's not enough. Another mass attack with another 13 characters. Nether portal, tail with legs, moth, dragon fruit, fluffy forsona. Yet another dandelion OC, water life. This is one of the coolest character designs I've ever seen. I love how this OC looks like so much. It has an evil aura to it. The person that has the beer OC, it's actually the second time drawing it. Revenge me back with this. Couldn't be marked as a revenge since they weren't the main recipient of the mass attack. The tail is so long it loops around, and it has the static effect instead of it being a still image. For these reasons I love this so much, it's so captivating. Just look at the way it glows and floats. The main recipient of this mass attack, which is behind this OC, and is also the creator of Effer, made this splendid revenge with such insane rendering of my tuna shark swimming underwater. Since this was my first attack I thought to make my last attack also towards the same person. This was so challenging to draw since it has so much detail, but more of a fun challenge that I quite enjoyed, and ended up with art that I'm proud of. It has very contrasting colors. Or so I thought. This was my last attack. Well, you see, normally 1st of August would be the last day, but since the website crashed on the first day, and was so laggy for the first week, the deadline has been extended by 2 days. I looked at my last goals that I didn't quite reach. I made this flying sugar container. This was my longest revenge chain, reaching level 4. Just short of 1 level. Being on the last days it was unrealistic to expect the continuing of this revenge chain. But someone came to my rescue. Let's start from the beginning. I attacked Checkboob official YouTube reacts by drawing Flask. They revenged me by drawing my Sona. Then I revenged back with Dusty. They revenged with the Golden Furry, the second to last character to get art. I revenged with Honey Crisp. They revenged with the Skull Sensor OC, simultaneously completing both of my last goals at the same time. Now every single OC has been drawn at least once, this being the last one, while also reaching revenge chain level 5. But why stop there? I revenged with drawing Tablet, making it near the ocean since they like oceans. They revenged with my book Sona under a sakura tree, which looks super cool. On the last day I made my last revenge, doing a different kind of OC than I usually do. I accidentally made it look so good. I can't believe I'm the one that made this. This was 7 hours before the end. They would have continued the chain, but there was no more time. But next year we'll see what happens. With roughly 4 hours to spare, I've received 3 attacks. Actually, it's just the same one reposted multiple times to fix mistakes. It is a revenge from the main recipient of this mass attack, which is the person behind the top hat OC. I love the art so much, and even the added detail of paw pads. I encourage people to add extra details. Sometimes I even make them canon. Just 2 hours left. I didn't think I was going to get any more attacks this late, but alas, 2 animations appeared in my inbox, and they are big animations, large enough to not fit here and to be put on YouTube. This one contains 76 OCs, including my tunic and shark chilling in the ocean. Interestingly, most of the characters here are not object OCs. I love this and appreciate it a lot. This clearly took a lot of effort to make, and the result is amazing. The other one has a catchy song that characters dance to. It contains 42 OCs, and I can see how extremely ambitious is it. It took them more than a month to make this and wanted to include even more, but had to cut it short due to time restraints. Animating frame by frame this many OCs in a pretty art style while also having this cool yellow color theme is insane, and the result is very stunning. It includes my pomegranate kiwi smoothie OC. I keep watching it over and can't stop. The links to both animations are down in the description. Show support to them. As I saw the counter go down, I kept refreshing the page, and so many more site-wide attacks were appearing. I imagine there will be a lot of art that was made but was too late to be submitted. Slowly approaching 0. The event has ended. In total, I have drawn 76 OCs and 41 attacks, and I received 36 attacks plus another for where I wasn't the main recipient. I reached over 200 notifications. These are my final stats. I didn't really pay that much attention to the points or the team that I was attacking. Out of the 41 attacks, I've received a comment thanking me in 37 of them. On the 2 mass attack, the ratio is a bit lower. Whenever I receive art, I try to reply to all of them. I appreciate anyone's effort. Just now I noticed I somehow accidentally didn't comment on this one, so I did now. Over the last days, the total score for both teams has been hidden, and around 2 or 3 weeks after the end we'll find out who won, as the moderators have to look through the site and correct any score inconsistencies if anything was classified wrongly. I'm curious if my points will change in case I did something wrong. When the event ended, the section of showing the latest attack site-wide disappeared, and I was a bit sad cause I wanted to see what was the last attack. Then I realized, all attacks are numbered. I remember a Tom Scott video where he talked about how YouTube doesn't have numbered links, since you could run through the entire list and find unlisted videos. Here you can put any number and find the attack associated to it, so I tried higher and higher numbers up until I reached the last one before it told me the page doesn't exist. This way I reached to this, submitted 5 seconds after the event ended. I guess the lag let a few more slip through the cracks. There are over 500 comments congratulating them on being the very last attack, which happened to be such cute and wholesome art. If you had waited an extra second, this beautiful art wouldn't have made it onto Artfight. And I'm thinking likely there are many that waited that extra second. Using the same method, I also found the first attack and calculated that there were exactly this many attacks. I expect the real number to be a bit lower since some of them might have gotten deleted. Let's travel in time to the results. Team Stardust won, which isn't surprising since the entire time it had more points than Seafoam. This is the attack with highest score. I wonder what's the theoretical limit. A bunch of cool stuff is showcased, such as crafts, 3D renders, VTuber models, games. The real amount of attacks was lower by this amount, which is a lot more of them deleted than I expected. I see on this page they don't include the friendly fire attacks. Sadly, the top attackers and revenge chains were not shown, which is a shame since I think it's very impressive and interesting to see. I'm gonna show the ones from last year. Biggest revenge chain was of 1000 levels, which is true dedication of friendship between two people, and the users who made the most amount of attacks. Some of them drew just as much this year as well. I can't even fathom the idea of making thousands of art in just a month, averaging 87 arts per day, but for it to also be really good art, that is shaded and doesn't look rushed. Here's a time lapse of my page and score over time cause I made way too many screenshots. In conclusion, this event was really fun. This was likely one of the most amount of arts I made in a month, and I even made some friends along the way. Apparently I saw in other videos there was somehow drama, but I didn't notice even a drop of it. I had such a positive experience, and I can't wait to do this again.